Hello and welcome to your snack sandwich. Today I'm going to take a quick look at GND Protocol. Now, this is a project that was put into my shill list. If you have a project and you want me to take a quick look at it, then just add your information to this shill list. And when I get around to it, I'll possibly get around to it and maybe make a video for you. Okay, so I've read through the docs as usual. The docs is pretty good. There's a couple questions that I have that are not answered here in the docs, but as always, I suggest you to read the docs, get a deeper understanding of how a protocol works. Here is the front end for this GND protocol. GND is basically a protocol, a stablecoin that is built on top of G-Trade, which I have a video on, so you can watch that video to kind of understand basically how this G-Trade works. And it's also built on top of GMD. Now, GMD is our vault that supply the underlying asset. So in this case, USDC is supplied to GMX and then auto-compounded in this vault, okay? So it's got these two, like, basically perpetual leverage trading platforms. It's using the yield from these leverage trading platforms to produce its own leverage yield bearing stablecoin. Now I do have a chart that'll go through everything in details as per what's in the docs here, and you can, but as usual, I would suggest you to read the docs yourself. So let's swing over to the flowchart and see there. If you would like to support the channel, I would suggest you to check out the Secret Sandwich.xyz. It's the Secret Sandwich NFT project. You can come here, you can mint an NFT, or you can come and check out your NFTs. Okay, so let's get back to it. Okay, so here we are on the flowchart. We have dollar bill. He has some stable coins. In this case, he has some DAI, or maybe he has some USDC, or he's got both of them, and he wants to try to put them to work and make some money off them. So he comes across this GND protocol, and he's like, oh, I want to learn how to use this, or I want to use this, and so forth. So this is how he uses it. So the first thing he has to do is he has to convert his DAI or his USDC into these underlying tokens on those protocols. So here we have G-Trade, which he would deposit his DAI into the G-Trade vault and get back G-DAI. And this is a yield-bearing stablecoin based on the activity of G-Trade. Okay, now currently at the current time, so I'm going to put ACT here. At current time, it's 5.6% APY or APR. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I think it's APY because I believe it's compounding. So APY, and then here we have the GMD. So if he deposits his USDC into the USDC vault, he gets back GMD USDC, and that's currently at current time has a reported APR of 10.52%. Now the reason why I don't usually put these percentages on here, but I want to illustrate something that I noticed in this GND protocol and this is why I've displayed this here. Okay, so now if he wants to take part in GND, what he does is he takes one of these tokens and he swaps it on Uniswap. That's the only way to get this how to say this one again, GMUSD. Okay, GMUSD, not GMD USDC. So it's you take one of these tokens and you swap it through one of the pools for this GMUSD token. Okay, the stablecoin. Now the stablecoin is backed by these tokens, but I'll get into it. So anyway, so that's how the dollar bill, a public person, will want to participate. He will swap for it on Uniswap. These are version 3 pools. There is a GMD USDC, GMUSD, and GDAI GMUSD pool on Uniswap version 3, and he can swap to those. Now, if he wants to gain some more yield, he can take one of those tokens that he has and this GMUSD, and he can deposit it into the liquidity pool and then put it into a farm and earn the GND protocol token. Now currently it's about 34% at current time of this thing, right? So the reason why I've put these percentages here, because if you go to the front end and you try to find what it reports, so if I go to the front end And we see here the front end. It currently says the GMUSD is natural yield of 15 to 25%. Now this is just a hard-coded number that's put on the front end. This is not a dynamic number used for calculations, as you can see, because currently it's not even close to 15%, and it's actually closer to around 8 or 7%, right? So I just wanted to highlight that point. This number is kind of an estimated number that they're kind of saying that, oh, traditionally or historically you would get around that much, okay? So, but you can take your tokens, you can add it, you can farm the governance token of this protocol, the GND token. So let's moving on. So what can you do with this token? Well, you can stake it for XGND. Now, there's some decisions to make when staking that. The first one is there is a tax of 2%. It says depends on the contract. So currently it's 2%, but maybe they change it and it's 1%, or a different one has 3%, or who knows. But right now apparently it's currently 2% tax, and that tax is immediately burned. So everyone who deposits here is burning tokens, reducing the supply of these GND tokens. Now, when you want to withdraw, it's a little bit difficult as well. When you want to withdraw, you have to select a cooldown time of between 20 to 200 days. If you select 20 days, then you're going to forfeit half of your tokens. So you will get a ratio of 1 XGND token, and you will get 0.5 GND tokens, and the rest will be burned. Now, it doesn't clearly say in the docs, but there was some implied that it's linear. So between, if you were to do 21 days, you would get a little bit more, or 100 days, you would get more, and then 200 days, you would get all of your GND tokens. So if you stake cooldown for 200 days, then you get your 200 all of your GND tokens back in 200 days. Now, it doesn't say also in the docs, I have a question, is whether or not during this cooldown time are you continuing to gain the yield that I will talk about in the future, okay? Because there's obviously some yield in here as well. Now, another important thing to mention here is that the protocol is going to manage the ranges of the pools that's supported by this protocol. So in this case, this GDI, GMUSD, the ranges of this, like the high price, the low price of the Uniswap version 3, will be managed by the protocol, and they will keep it in range for you. So as a user, you don't need to do that. And it's also going to manage the range of all of the other pools that are supported by this, and I will talk about those in a bit. But you'll see that there's a lot of pools that it's actually managing for you. So it's kind of a Uniswap version 3 manager as well, okay? Range manager. Now, let's talk about the GND protocol, how it's different. There is some interesting things in here. This is clever. Okay, so the first thing is they have some protocol-owned liquidity, and they're obviously gaining the fees of these tokens, because anybody who wants to enter or exit has to swap through these pools. There's no ability for him to mint this token. So he has to swap. So there's fees being generated for the protocol-owned liquidity of this, and those fees come in the form of the tokens inside, because they are Uniswap version 3 pools, and they are there to be claimed in the tokens of the protocol. So in these 4 tokens, well, these 3 tokens, right? Moving on. Now, they have this thing called the PSALM. I can't quite remember what it is, but something about peg maintenance thing, okay? So basically what they do is when the GMUSD is above peg, then they will mint GMUSD with some of the GDI or GMUSD that they've gotten from the fees, I suppose, and they will sell those for a profit. Now, like I said, the protocol's the only one who can mint GMUSD, so it's the only one that can take advantage of this above peg opportunity. Now, when it's below peg, the protocol can redeem the GMUSD, so it's also going to have GMUSD from fees, and maybe it's going to hold some as well. And can redeem at GMUSD for the underlying tokens and use that to defend the peg. Now it also says in the docs that this defending pegs will also be a premium, and then that premium will also be, but I would feel like it wouldn't necessarily be a premium. However, they are generating more fees for themselves through their own peg maintenance trades. Okay, but anyways, so you get the idea. So they're the only ones who can defend the peg as well as take advantage when the peg is above, which is quite interesting. I've never seen any protocols do this before, as far as I know. Okay, now let's talk about some of the fees. Now there's a little bit of questions inside here. So it says when GMD is up, okay? So whenever GMD, let's start here. So 40 to 60% of the total fees are used in this manner. So some percentage, it doesn't say in the doc, some percentage is constantly used to buy back and burn the GND token. So raising the value of that GND token again. When the GND token is up, and doesn't need any kind of defending or price, defense, then it will just use those tokens that it has inside more liquidity. So any of the fees it's got, any of the money it's got, it can use those to generate more money while GND is doing well. Now, when GND is doing badly, then they will use that money to defend the peg or defend the price of GND further, okay, with more power. Now it says 40 to 60%, but it doesn't say anywhere in the docs how this 40 to 60% is changed or are decided or what have you. It just kind of says that 40 to 60% will be used in this manner. So that's a question that you can dig deeper into. Now, it also says 20% of the total fees or the total revenue of this protocol will be used to pay the ex-GND holders with ETH. So they will use it to accumulate ETH and give ETH to these GND token holders. And it says it uses an RP point system where basically the longer you're in, the more better of this share you will have. It's not just simply, if you have a big bag, you put it in, you will get all of it. You have to also be in there for a period of time longer than other people. So if I have 100 tokens in there for a year and you have 1,000 tokens in there for 10 days, then you will probably get something close to what I get. I didn't do all the math, but that's kind of the idea of that. Now there is a question here. This is 20%, and at most 60% is 80%. It doesn't say where that other 20% is going or whether or not even this total fees is the same of this total revenue that they say in the docs. It's a little bit confusing in that sense. Okay, so moving on. The last thing you can do with this GND is you can vote on emissions. Now, originally the whole idea was to just incentivize GND tokens on these pools that they needed for this stablecoin, but they found that, we can launch a whole bunch of partners. So this is just a small list of all the partners. There are quite a few. If I drag this over. Okay, so as you can see, there are quite a few farms here, all issuing GND tokens at some APR to these people. And you can use your GND to vote on these. Now, if you go here, you do see that the APR is different. Some of it will be coming out in GND, and the other will be coming out as locked ex-GND tokens. Okay. So, anyways, so you can participate in these farms as well to farm these tokens if that's something you want to do. Now, one of the things I will say is, let's say I wanted to participate in the actual GMUSD token protocol. It's actually quite difficult to get into this position. You have to first, you need to mint that GMD USDC. Then you need to swap it for the GMUSD token, and then you can make the LP token on Uniswap. And you see this is even broken here. You have to kind of go to Uniswap, make the LP token, and at this fee, and then there's no zapping in right now. So the user experience is a little bit hard. Or instead, you can go to the liquidity pool, the liquidity tab right here, choose a pair, find the pair you want, and for example, here, and then you would just have to have those tokens inside your wallet, and you could then deposit them. I haven't tested this. As you can see, I don't have any of these underlying tokens. I might test it later. But anyhow, you can add liquidity this way through the front end. Of course, you need to connect your wallet and stuff like that. And I assume it will populate the other side for you. So you might, it's not going to probably be one-to-one. But yeah, come here, test this out, try to provide some liquidity and see how it goes. Take care of that. Consider that when you're deciding whether or not you want to play with this or not. Okay, so that pretty much covers this protocol. There's probably some more. I've probably made a little bit of mistakes here or there, but that's the general idea, and I hope this has been interesting and useful for you. And thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.